Hello and welcome back to Heart Spaceship. Welcome back to Satisfactory. My name is Okada, and before we get started today, I wanted to quickly talk about content creation and the pressures that content creators like myself, who strive for quality over quantity, often put on ourselves. Now, I could give an hour-long TED talk on the subject, but this will be the quick Cliff's Notes version, and I ask that you please don't skip over it. When we create new content, we strive to do better than before. We're always trying to find new creative ways to tell a story, improve on strategies, and surprise our audience by thinking outside the box. This is a good life philosophy to have in general, but it can lead to unreasonable expectations, which we end up putting on ourselves. We can't always do better or different, and sometimes it can be difficult to admit that. Satisfactory is a perfect example of this trap. This is a pyramid-style resource management game. This means every time we add a brick to the top of the pyramid, we need to widen its base to support it, usually by expanding our existing supply lines or replicating product lines elsewhere. That won't always make for amazing new content, but it's an important aspect of building a working factory. This puts people like me into a dilemma. Do I make episodes that might be considered repetitious to show you guys what all is going into making a working factory? Or do I spend ever-increasing amounts of time off camera building whole new areas to supply familiar products? Well, honestly, it's an obvious decision. My style of content is meant to be both informative and entertaining. Hiding what it takes to accomplish our goals doesn't do anyone any good, and either people are coming back because they like my personality and how I do things, or I'm going to eventually lose them anyhow when products become so complex that they take multiple episodes to complete. Last episode with the Encased Industrial Beams took 2 weeks because I was beating myself up trying to reinvent the wheel. I love what we came up with, but I woke up many mornings to weird dreams about problems with that build because it weighed so heavily on my mind. Well, I'm not going to allow that to happen again. When we need to fall back and expand, I'm just going to go do it. Film it and hope you like it. When a new project is complex, I'm going to take the time to break it down and do it right instead of glossing over it and ending with, "Trust me, it just works." I hope that you'll stay with me and continue to enjoy the content I work so hard to provide. But if not, I understand, and I thank you for having been here. Now, getting on with today's episode, we're going to split this episode in half. First, we're going to head back to the Encased Industrial Beam outpost and put the finishing touches on it. After that, well, Update 6 was just released on experimental, and we're going to load it up and see how much damage it's going to do to our builds. So if you're still listening, you have my deepest gratitude for not skipping this bit. Now let's get to work. Alright, here we are, approaching the work site. As you can see, we still have a lot of stuff left to do over here. A lot of cleanup work. Let's go ahead and stop the train here. And I think we can get up to a better vantage point so we can talk about what we're going to do. And of course, I don't want to spend too much of the episode on this location. You know, we've already got, I think, everything working, but there is still a fair amount left to do. So let's look at the little area here and talk about that. So first of all, we want to get, of course, a kind of a roof over here, and right down there is where we want to get our train station. And it shouldn't be too much of a challenge to run, you know, the platforms over here and then through and back out. And, you know, the elevation might not match up exactly, but it won't be far off. So it'll be pretty easy to ramp it up or down, whatever's necessary. Then over here, you know, we have the smelter, which already has its roof on it. We have all of these, you know, temporary platforms. We need to remove all of these. So we'll probably just connect some of these with hypertubes and some of them with walkways wherever it makes sense. But that shouldn't take too terribly long. But I do want to put roofs on all of these, and like on the bridge. And in fact, I think I want to put supports on the bottom of that. I mean, you know, there is a natural bridge there, so it's fine the way it is. But we've added a lot of weight to it, and it might make some sense to just put some supports beneath it. But I want to have, you know, all the areas with roofs like this, kind of in this theme, because I want to tie the whole complex together, this kind of desert outpost. So I think that's what we're going to do. Shouldn't take too much, and we've already got the general theme down, so it shouldn't be too hard to come up with something. And these two will probably be identical because they are doing the same thing. Yeah, I think that's going to be about it. And then we'll just get rid of all these platforms, get our connections together, and carry on with what we want to do for the second half of this episode. So let's get started. I think first I want to start with getting the station up and running, and then we can come back and get all of the roofs put in place. Now that looks so much better. Just, it ties it together a lot better, and we managed to work in some walkways and connect some buildings, you know, where the height difference wasn't too much. And so I'm pleased with that. And of course, we didn't really need one for going across the bridge because it's just a walk on its own. But we were able to connect those together. And of course, you know, since the height difference was so much, it made a lot more sense to do a hypertube than to do some kind of spiraling staircase going down. But yeah, it all came out very nice. And we color themed these two. I'm trying to stay away from the very loud entrance. I color themed these two because they are, you know, again, they are identical. And I just kind of wanted to, you know, change the colors out just a little bit and change the, you know, the shape a little bit based on, you know, the shape of the entire facility. Like, you know, this platform here, of course, is much wider, and so we went with a different kind of style for the roof, but kept in the same theme. And I'm very pleased with the way it came out. And it was kind of cool even putting a roof on the train station, which is the next thing that we need to take care of, which is connecting the train station to the actual train line. And that's what we're going to do. Try to do it kind of in real time without taking up too much time here, so don't be surprised if there's a little skip here and there, just because, you know, in edit, you know, we got other things we want to get done in this episode, and I don't want to take up too much time doing this. Sometimes lining up rail lines is a challenge. So first thing we want to do is get this lined up, and then find out how far the ramp goes down before it meets. Oh, perfect. Very nice. And we'll come back and clean up all this stuff when we're done. We want to grab, drag, how far we can get out. Ooh, all the way down. Okay. We're going to stop at one shy. Let's drag one across the opening, the you know, the top bottom of the ramp so it curves just kind of a little more naturally. And I'm going to leave it there because, you know, we need to figure out how the ramping's going to, how the curve's going to go. All right, there it goes. I was kind of hoping to see it go the other direction, but I think we got enough time here. So let's go ahead and delete that line. Let's bring this forward a little bit more. Okay, so if we do, first let's just change out our materials here to make this all easier to judge. So this is going to be our outgoing line. And so if it's right there, right, we said 3 by 3 is our perfect turn. So 1, 2, 3. So do that little 1.5 there. And starts there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We want it to end right there. It's perfect for where we already had that intersection. Just like that. Excellent. And then we'll do a 4 by 4 because this one out here is reaching a little farther. We'll turn all this back to asphalt when we're done. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want it to end right there on the second one. Perfect. Check it out. It's just that easy. There we go. Intersection complete. Now, of course, we'll need to repeat that for the incoming. Just super simple. So let me clean this up real quick, get this thing turned back to asphalt, and we'll take care of that one. All right, here we are on our lookout tower for the next intersection. There's the outgoing one there. This will be the incoming one. And I noticed just by complete chance, we got real lucky here. So let's delete this real quick. The train just went past the other way. In fact, it snuck past me somehow. It already made the loop again. And this happens to be ending exactly on the 3 by 3. We just got so lucky here. Check this out. So it's 1, 2, 3. So that's the 1.5 right there. Just like that. You know, it was lucky because we were going to have to take all this down to get rid of that station anyway. And I thought we'd have to resegment this thing, but it just landed right on the exact spot we needed it. So, very good. Let's get rid of this, just instead of having to repaint it. All right, and where's our 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So that's going to be the second block. Really should jump down there and make sure I'm lining this up straight, but I'll check it later. Excellent. Oh, did I not? Oh, the other switch is going to get in the way. All right. So what we'll need to do is, I think, get our train out of the way. Gotta go fast. Oh no! All right, well, okay, well, I guess we did connect the loop, so he's just gonna use the station to pass on through. That was nice of him to test out our new rail for us. Excellent. That's very good. All right, we need to delete this line, so we need to get our train out of the way. And that's the only way it can go. As you can see, I've already blocked off the signals on the outgoing. So this shouldn't interrupt that train, you know, doing its loop. All right, we get rid of this. That should allow us to reconnect. Excellent. And then we just need to add some signals. All right, this is coming in. So right there, going out, or this would be coming in, right? If one from that side needed to go over there for some reason, this one's unlikely to be used, but you never know. You never know, right? And maybe we'll have a train that stops here last to pick up this stuff on the way back. It's just good to have our options. And we want one. So I think we want to make a smaller segment. There we go. That's for when it's leaving the merge. And that. Just, yeah, see the colors are all isolated. So that's perfect. This is excellent. So that entire train station is now isolated from the rest of the network through blockers so that it can't, interrupt the train's path. Now we'll put another one. Let's do it right here. There we go. Yeah, that way the whole thing's isolated from the intersections. So now it should be smooth sailing. The other train won't have to divert through the station now. And we'll be able to set this up to deliver back to home. Now, you might be wondering why I made such a large station for just one product. Well, partially because, well, we had space, but mostly because we don't know for sure which train car is going to actually carry the goods. I think it's going to be the first train car, but, should we use a different train and it needs to load up in, say, like the fourth or fifth car, I wanted to make sure we had a full length so that we could put it to whatever train car we eventually decide we need it in, or in case in the future we decide we need to change which one it's going through. Because remember, this is all going back to home, and we need to make sure they all line up with the train stations back at home. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, get that turned back to asphalt, and I think we're good to start with the second segment of this episode, which will be checking out Update 6 and seeing whether or not our electronics hub is safe or whether or not we're going to have to tear it down. I literally have not loaded it. I don't know what to expect. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and I'm going to back up our save. I'm going to download Update 6 in the experimental branch, and then I will see you guys there. All right, here we are, Update 6. Ooh. Struggling a little bit on the load. Of course, I've literally just loaded it. So, I don't know if all my settings are carried over. Seems like my controls have. So, before I exited, I shut off this train at quick wire because we're going to ride it into the new area. I feel like we had repainted this before. Maybe? I don't know. Alright, so you guys are going with me. This is going to take us into the station that is in the new area. I pre-parked our personal train over here, then just, quit out. Oh man, there's a thing right in the middle of our building. Oh no. Oh, that's bad. Okay, well, we knew that could happen. Oh, it's so pretty. Get out of here. feel like we're running it. Yeah, we're running at speed. Okay, so we're gonna have to do something about that. Oh, goodness. Alright, well, looks like the station has been spared. Oh, man. You know, the other thing we're going to have to determine is whether or not the resource nodes are still in the same location. Because a large part of why we built over here was because of all the resource nodes that were up here that we were going to use. You know, there was copper, and there was quartz, and a bunch of stuff. And we was going to, you know, use it for all of our electronics and things. So I'm not going to go over all the features of Update 6 at the moment. This isn't an Update 6 video. But all of our beacons are now markers. Beacons aren't a thing anymore. So there's been massive changes to the map, aside from the fact that obviously it's much larger. And I think we'll have to go through and remove the beacons or something, and they become waypoints. I don't know. We'll worry about that later. But what are we scanning for here? Quartz. All right. So there's a couple of. All right. So the quartz are still there. That's excellent. I guess the copper is the other thing we were curious about. See if those are still in the same place. Yep. Good. Excellent. We don't care about the iron. Can't scroll? Oh, it's right click now. Yeah, so we'll double check and make sure. I think that this lake or river here is the starting point of the change. And I know that they said in the patch notes or in one of their videos that they moved some of these nodes. I don't know if they're all there or if they're in different places. That's something we'll have to find out. You know, fortunately we didn't really build in that area, so we're not too concerned about it. But, oh man, just look at that. Look at that, it's so nice. Oh my goodness, this looks so beautiful. I don't know how there's a waterfall coming off of that little bridge. Okay, so we're gonna take our train over to the other station, the oil station, the original oil station, and see if that is, you know, still a thing, and if we can still wrap around to our home base. So let's go with, yeah, going towards home. Let's, it's not where we want to go. We want to go to oil west. No, we're just going to ride it, because this will take us by there anyway. And I'm gonna have to think about what we can do with that building. I guess, you know, to scout out the area, see if we can fit it somewhere else. I don't want to have to move it over the water, but maybe. I do want to keep this kind of as an area for us to build in, because those resources are still there. Oh man, this is so pretty. Okay, it looks like we're gonna have to move the rail a little bit. What if we could just weave it between these two? I bet we can do that. That should be a fairly simple fix. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, let's turn this off. Okay, yeah, definitely going to have to change that. Okay. So we'll have to do some reconfiguring of this station, if we keep the station at all. Let's, can we get down there? Probably have to jump. Because our ramp down is right there. Now, again, we're not playing on this version. This is a matter of us finding out what's messed up for us and fixing it on our copy on update 5. Can we please get, there we go. And preparing to move to update 6. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to switch to update 6 early or not. You know, I don't have that planned out yet. But for now, we're going to stay on update 5. There's a lot of cool features in update 6 I do want to get involved in, and I want to start building in this area. So, you know, if we can get those things fixed, then maybe we'll move over to here. I'm not a huge fan of playing on experimental, but I think this might be a worthy case. Why is that broken? It's like they deleted the existing ramp. It's so nice. Man, this is so beautiful. They really have outdone themselves. Of course, we could have gone home and taken the tube over here. But I like this better. I like this running through it better. We should have already been on the coast by now, shouldn't we have? Guess we'll know based on where our stuff was built. So these are probably still working. They're probably still attached to the node, even if the node is moved. Oh, neither of those. Yeah, see, there isn't a node there anymore. So the node's there. Looks like a new node up here. Little check marks next to them. Oh, claimed. Nice. So it's letting us know that we already have a miner or extractor on it. Now, so I'm guessing that this one like moved over to there because it was saying that was claimed, but obviously since we don't have a marker over there, we didn't actually build something over there. So I would assume that once we get to that one, we couldn't actually build a... Oh. No. Stay away from that. Those I saw in the update video, those are the new spawners for the flying bad guys. Except now it doesn't blow up, so you have to come back and destroy the spawner. Okay, so here's a new... Okay, that one's impure. We definitely didn't... It wasn't that one, but we did claim one. So let's see if we have the materials to make a new one. I'm assuming that we cannot put one on here. Which is fine, because we don't want to double use them anyway. Yeah. Just means that we're going to have to delete the ones that were already placed and then move them to here. When we're ready to come back here. We're not going to do this anytime soon because we moved our oil production to the other area now, so we don't actually need to exploit this area for the moment, but we would definitely will. Man, it's just I'm just blown away. I'm so glad that we started building where we did, with the series so close to this area, so that we can actually, justify using this area. We'll find uses for it. Oh man, this is just magnificent. This is so beautiful. So, I think what we're going to have to do is, I'll take time to explore this. We're not going to spend the next hour running around this. And just kind of try to get a general plan on how can we use this area. See if there are other resource nodes of different types that we can utilize. We might be able to come here, like as if there's a bauxite, we could use it for aluminum. Or if there's quartz, maybe we can use it for some of our electronic stuff. There might be other reasons beyond the oil for us to use this area, but I just need to get familiar with kind of what resource nodes are in this area so we can target it for use just because we like how it looks. And if not, if it's just an oil area, then, we'll come back to it when we need the oil. All right, let's get back to the train and see the rest of the rail line and see if anything else needs to be updated before we go back to update 5. And I'll probably between episodes I'll have to come out here and just truly map out what space that we're going to need, because we're going to have to go back into update 5 and move these things so that they fit in here. Oh yeah, we're going to have to dodge this pillar as well. Oh man, that's nice. It gets out of the lush area and it gets back into the rocky, deserty looking area. But it still looks like they've changed the train a little bit, and it still looks like that. It's so nice. Okay, it looks like this is okay, which is fine. I kind of expected this to survive. So approaching our base should be okay. Let's just go ahead and real quick make sure that our base is indeed within the boundaries of safe. I'm pretty sure that we built far enough south that we were immune to the update. So I think that home should be just fine. And from here it looks like it is. Okay, so I looked at the timer there after that last clip and realized that we are over time. So I think this is where we're going to wrap it up, which is fine because we had done everything we set out to do. So this is a good time to end it anyway. I did take a chance to run around and make sure that our base is still intact. It looks like there were no changes, so that's excellent. Also, when I was behind the copper building, I noticed a crash site that we hadn't exploited, or maybe it wasn't there before. I don't know. It was close enough that I was able to run power from the building to the pod to open it. So we have another hard drive now to toss on the MAM. Oh, apparently I forgot we had a hard drive already running. We'll just go with this because the quartz is, yeah, let's just do that. And toss the other one on here. All right. But anyway, we are over time. So this was an excellent episode. I feel great about it. We had a wonderful little chat in the beginning, for those of you who didn't skip over it. It was kind of important. If you skipped it, you should go back and listen to it. And we got to finish up our Encased Industrial Beam outpost, which was fantastic. Came out beautifully. I'm so happy with it. With the new train station, it's also good. And we got our first looks at update 6. We got to see how it's going to impact the build that we already have. We're going to have to move the computer building. We're going to have to move the rail lines a bit, but that looked pretty manageable. I think that the entire temporary oil outpost is a loss. So I think we're just going to tear that whole thing down and just not worry about it. We'll come back to it later. But there was one more casualty of update 6. In brief, we run a mod manager for things like, the permanent day and infinite zoop, and for the mod that I use to make time lapses. Well, they had updated that mod, I don't know, a couple months ago or something like that, and I intentionally stuck with the old version because they tore out the interface that I use for making the time lapses and replaced it with a whole new function. From what I can tell, that's probably a better feature the way it is done now, but I haven't had time to learn it, and so I kept with the old version on purpose. Well, unfortunately, when I loaded the mod manager after downloading the experimental branch, it updated all the mods automatically, and I lost the old version. And even worse, when I came back to update 5, I found that update 5 now crashes when I try to save the game if the time-lapse mod is installed. So right now it's disabled. I can't have it loaded and still play update 5. So there won't be any more time lapses in future episodes until either they fix that or until we move to update 6. Which again, we might move to update 6 within the next episode or two. We'll make those decisions as we come along. But that's just something to be aware of. But that's going to be it for this episode. Next episode, we will look to get the building moved for the computers. And now we can finally start doing our electronics and getting our quartz things going now that we know where the terrain is going to be. So this is wonderful. I'm so happy about this. I'm so glad they finally released that. And I feel like we're unleashed. We can start going back to our original build path and get all those things up and running that we wanted to get up and running before we move forward into things like aluminum. So that's excellent. So definitely be sure to come back in the next episode. We have so much to do. I can't wait to get started on it. And thanks again very much for coming out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Definitely click the like button on the way out. And leave some comments. Love to hear from you guys. But again, thank you very much for coming out and watching. And I will see you in the next episode.